Hi, and welcome back to Wicked Ones Tarot. My name is Carmen, and today we've got a reading for you about somebody who's taking a big risk. And I do feel like it's going to pay off. And I also feel like whether this is for you or your person, we've got some travel involved here. So it could even be someone's decided they're going to travel to see or maybe even move to be with their love interest, but there's this like excitement and confidence that is permeating the reading so far. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of Winchanta. And I hope you're having a good day so far. If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedonestarot@gmail.com. It's in the description box below, and right below that, you can find out how to join the memberships of the channel. Hello, Kingly Eagle. How you doing? Let's start off with the situations deck. What else do we have? I made an announcement in the last video, but I might as well on this one as well. I plan to do an all signs reading in a little bit here today, since some of you have been requesting more of the astrological sign readings. So make sure you like it if you want more of those. We've got history, past happened, alien, telepathic, dreams, song, and access granted. Social media, fake profile, hiding. This is interesting, but I feel like there's someone who feels a connection to you that is difficult for them to explain to other people. They do feel there's some sort of connection between the two of you with regards to dreams or maybe even telepathy. They do feel like they hear you speaking to them sometimes. But this is someone who has had to be a little bit at a distance from you. And I do feel like for some of you, they've been hiding. They're trying to find a way to change that. They want to get this access, right? So this could be somebody that you don't realize feels this deeply for you. Let's dig a little bit more and see. Or maybe you don't expect this person to be willing to take this kind of leap of faith. Hello, Carrie. Hello, Michael. What's going on? Gossip, drastic, and ascension. Okay, so you know this person. There's been some sort of gossip issue in the past that may have led to an argument or blocking each other. Now, you may have come back together to be friends or even date again since then, but I feel like one of the biggest issues early on was someone believed gossip. And this is looking to me like this is a no contact connection. So you may have gotten back together, you may have been friends again, you may have chatted up, since then, and then also gone no contact or low contact since then. But this is someone who feels like they've had to hide, that they continue to feel very deep emotions for you, but they've gone through an ascension that is emboldening them, encouraging them to express this emotion. Hello, Jose. How are you doing? Yeah. Well, it looks like there is communication coming in quickly. They can't resist you. They may have at one point felt like you put a spell on them or that you are manipulative in some way. But I think they realized that they actually just needed to know how to define love. This is the Noisy Tarot. What else do we have? Hello, Stephen. Hello, Aqua Beauty. What's going on? Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. High Priestess in the reverse. And the Queen of Cups in the reverse. Well, that's interesting. I feel like this is someone who had the opportunity to make things right, and they blew it. So that might be why I'm so convinced that there's something that happened, and I feel like you made up where things were okay again, and then either because they didn't address something or because it happened again, whatever it is, it's like, really? Again? Okay, toodaloo. Queen of Cups is in the reverse. So I feel like there's another falling out after this original gossip-based argument. What else do we have? Four of Wands, Queen of Wands in the reverse, and the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. So, while you probably ascended before this person, you may have been left kind of wondering what happened with this person from your past. It seemed to you like they maybe lacked the direction or the dedication. I feel like there's this sadness over wondering if somebody else is okay, but knowing that this distance is probably necessary. This is starting to feel like a twin flame reading, so we might have that card come out at some point. Ten of Wands, the Chariot, and the Hanged Man. I feel this is someone who is, it's like their mood is accomplished. Like, I've gotten a lot done. I didn't know I could accomplish this much. I didn't know I could make this much change in my life happen. The Chariot is fast-moving energy. In fact, it's the fastest moving energy in the tarot. And it's immediately following the Ten of Wands. This is like that sense of gratification you get after a hard day's work. I always think about working like on a yard, because that, if it's hot outside, obviously can be kind of grueling work, right? You come back inside, you get a nice, I don't know, lemonade, water, Dr. Pepper, whatever it is, and you put your feet up and you're like, dang, I'm kind of a badass. This is somebody who's like pretty proud of themselves. But this Hanged Man is because they see things differently now. They see why things happened the way they did because of this ascension. So they've gone and actually done the work that they were avoiding doing in the past. And they understand how you responded or how you acted more than they did before. Maybe also they understand why they acted the way they did. Page of Wands in the reverse, Ace of Swords in the reverse, and the Sun. So for some of you, there are struggles in this person's life regarding a little boy. For others of you, there is some information that is coming to light that they have lied about over and over and over again. They cannot stop this information from coming out. And the third way I'm seeing this is they realize now that they read you completely wrong, and that whatever they try to attribute to themselves as the positive energy they experienced around you, I'm not saying they get zero credit. I'm saying they view it as, you were like this ray of sunshine around me, and I have to like actually admit to myself that, you know, that's what happiness feels like. And it's not been easy for me to duplicate that because you were part of that recipe, right? Hello, Grant. How are you doing? All right, so since we had Ascension, I feel like it makes sense to go for the Voyage of the Soul. Let's see if that Ascension card comes out. What else do we have? Justice, decisions, fairness, review, laws, consequences. So they realize that things went the way they did because they weren't willing to accept consequences or because they weren't willing to embrace change. They want to tell you, I acknowledge now the only way we could have another chapter, or the only way we could actually recapture that happiness, is if I took a different approach to it. I can't, regurgitate the same old approach to love and expect it to have a different response. So I actually worked on myself. Wow. I'm seeing this as the three main things this person has worked on. So we're going to refer to this person as the Chariot. They've moved quickly to address some things that they may have procrastinated getting there, but they are looking to take a big risk. Please remember this could be your energy. But I feel like for the majority of you, this is somebody who's wanting to come back around and connect with you after things have gone no contact. And they have been focused very much so on answers. What do I need to be honest with myself about? What was I unwilling to admit? Why was I justifying this? I want to know the truth. I don't want to know anything to make myself feel better, right? Whiskey neat, except for its truth. Vessel, body, nourishment, wholesome nutrition, and health. So they've been looking for answers. They've been looking for truth, but they have also been working on their physical health. They have acknowledged that there were times where they were destructive towards themselves and did things that they knew were bad for their health because they were struggling with so many other things going on. They have now accepted that responsibility that they need to treat their body like a temple, if you will, right? That they need to drink more water, that they need to quit certain habits, maybe go to the gym. They're prioritizing this because they acknowledge that these are one of those, when you disregard things that can contribute to you feeling good about yourself, confidence wise, but also ready to take on the day, you put yourself at a disadvantage. They realize that now. So they're feeling better than they have in a long time, in part because they're starting here, right? What can I do? What are the controllables within my own life? Mood. Now, this technically says aura as the big word on it, but mood is the first one. Light, glow, shield, protection. They are focused on what they can do to make sure that their mood doesn't have these mood swings, or that they are not, too easily angered. This is the Metamuse. What else do we have? Hey, Laura, how are you doing? Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. The Five of Cups. I do think this person who resonates with the Chariot may have at some point felt like they were depressed, felt like they were a little struggling to understand what was going on in the present because there were still things that they were processing from their past. Remember, we did have that history past happened card. Yes, I do think that there was an argument and a problem between the two of you, but I also feel like there were traumas or problems from their past before you that they needed to deal with as well. I also feel like this Five of Cups is because they feel like they've taken too much time. Two of Swords, Three of Wands, to make the decision to take action. Why did I wait so long? Why did I pretend that I didn't need to do anything? Why did I pretend that, everything would, eventually happen? Why did I hurt myself? There's definitely some remorse or some guilt here over how they maybe magnified the difficulties in their life based on how they approached things. But this is like starting at the granular level, right? I want to know what I can do for myself to build a better life without trying to, blame other people. I can eat better. I can drink more water. I can get better sleep. I can talk about myself in more positive ways. They're making these changes that previously they probably mocked or belittled, right? Now they see it as taking small steps to protect their joy. They did lie to themselves about your making them happy. They didn't want to be honest about how happy you made them. That's scary. If you taste happiness after a life of misery, I guess it's probably to be expected that it would be a little bit uncomfortable, right? How do I deal with this? How do I handle this? I just watched the movie Limitless the other day, and I would cautiously compare it to, because after all, happiness is in a way a chemical reaction, right? But the way, I think there's multiple characters that they show after they take that first, was it NZT? They're like, wow, everything's alive and great. And then they immediately want more, right? I feel like this person saw that they were potentially falling in love, potentially getting addicted to you, that they didn't like having to rely upon you for that dopamine, right? This, for some of you, led them to kind of chasing thrills to prove to themselves that they didn't need you. Ten of Pentacles, Empress in the reverse, and the Six of Swords in the reverse. In other words, things got worse before they got better. It's like your phone dies and you're on the middle of a cross-country road trip and you have zero clue where you are. You could, try to figure things out by the position of the sun, or, oh, there's a mountain over there and I know where that is. But this is somebody who had zero directions, placed in the middle of a field, and they had to figure out their way home. And they chose the wrong direction. They chose the wrong approach to the healing that they needed. They chose to, flail their arms a little bit, and they got nowhere. So after realizing that that was not the way to go, they had to take a step back. I do feel like this is someone who's done some research, maybe read some self-help books or sought out advice from someone that they considered to be very wise. They wanted to find a different roadmap. So my approach doesn't work clearly. So tell me, what is it that I have to do? It's like a teenager who accepts that in order to go to the party that they want to go to, first they have to finish all their chores. And they're like, okay, fine. What's the chore list? I don't wanna, but I will because I want to do the other thing. Begrudgingly, at least at the beginning, they embark on this journey of, okay, I need to make these changes. I need to see things differently. I need to challenge myself because I have been dismissive. I have been disassociated, right? I have tried to pretend everything is fine, and it is not, in fact, fine. So let's just see what happens if I actually do what I'm supposed to do. Let's see what it is. The comparison in my mind would be someone who decides to build IKEA furniture without looking at the directions, gets halfway through, and then decides, you know what? So like maybe I do need those directions. They tried first without the directions, but now they're like, oh, can I see them? Yeah. No, I probably should have done that. Ugh. I might be calling myself out. I might have done that. With literally the piece of furniture that the camera is sitting on, just so you guys all know. All right. 3 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, and the Ace of Swords in the upright. Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Wow. Okay. I mean, the highest of 5s to you, Chariot, because you are looking at this as maybe it wasn't enough motivation for me to do this for myself, but if I acknowledge that I can't be the right kind of person in a relationship with someone unless I choose to do this for myself, that sounds like a little bit of a complicated way of saying, I decided to love myself. I decided to do right by myself because you did right by me. I decided that maybe I should really do these things that could improve my life instead of making a joke about it. You shone a light on what they needed to work on. This 3 of Pentacles is about how proximity to you showed them what was important. King of Swords, 2 of Wands in the reverse, Knight of Wands in the reverse. I'm kind of mad at you, though. You know when somebody's right and you don't want them to be right, and you're like, damn it, really? Like playing a word game and insisting that a word is not actually in the dictionary, not a word for sure, and then finding out after the game that it actually is. This is like not easy for them to admit that you were right, or to admit that the things that you said really changed their life. You might have predicted or been very direct about the kind of people they surrounded themselves with. And it might have not been a very nice response that you got. They might not have said anything at all. They might have been really rude to you. But I think you were very clear about, well, how can you expect good things from people who you know treat everybody like shit? I'm like, I don't understand the disconnect here. Why would you expect anything to not be problematic when you hang out with people who lie to you, or you hang out with people that, take things from you? There's something here about you warning them about the company they keep. What else do we have? Ace of Cups, Devil in the reverse. Wow. And the Ace of Pentacles. So in this little group of 6 cards from the Rider-Waite or the Waite-Smith, we have 3 of the 4 aces. This is really beautiful energy. I know those of you who have watched at least a couple of my live streams, you know that I can be maybe a little bit sassy or blunt when it comes to people not doing the work, but expecting to have that love without having done that, right? This is not one of those situations. Some of you have moved on. Some of you have decided this is not it. That's your choice, right? You have free will. But I will tell you this, whoever this reading is for, this is somebody who is actually like put their effort in. Somebody who is trying to do it the right way after, for a very long period of time, not doing it the right way. But this is beautiful energy. This is self-love, letting go of fears, letting go of what I was like dependent upon, perhaps external validation, chasing those thrills, right? And then the Ace of Pentacles, because I want a new beginning, because I found what really made me happy. So we've got the Five of Swords in the reverse, clarifying our King of Swords, a truth that needs to be spoken. Someone who has decided after all this time, decided to do something about it. So this is someone who's taking a risk. I feel like they're traveling because we did have the very first two cards. There's a rear view mirror at the top with the dice in the windshield. And then we've got the globe. So it's like I'm looking at highways. I'm trying to figure out how long it would take, right? But this person's made a decision that they don't have any more time to mess around. This is the Energy Oracle. What else do we have? Hey, Key Controller, how are you doing? Goddess of the Moon. Shout out to Joanna. Number 52. Wow, and Angel of Strength. I mean, there is a Sun card in this deck, to be clear. But this Angel of Strength card is associated with Leo. Sun is also associated with Leo. So you can see there's obviously fire energy here, right? But it makes me feel like we've got someone who has appreciated the need. Oh my gosh, I'm messing up my cards. Someone who understands the balance of masculine and feminine energy. Someone who understands the need for both gravitational pull and going for what you want. So a bit of a magician, someone who's working out how things work as opposed to complaining about how they don't work. Because they've taken more control over their life, taken more control over their mindset. And now we have victory. So they have overcome, they have basically been victorious over this list of challenges they had in order to get their ducks in a row. This is the Kipper. Concern in the reverse. Lovers. Privileged lady. It's interesting because there is this duality when they want to approach you and, you know, catch up, figure out what you've been up to. There's like this assurance or this confidence they have that everything somehow is working out for you because they feel like things always work out for you somehow. But there's also this desire to be there for you or be a part of the story. They are concerned though because there is something about you that they know other people are attracted to. They know there's a chance that they may have taken too long. Main male, number 1. Journey, 10. Toil and labor, 38. This is someone who is traveling to see you, but they're also going to be telling you about the work they've done on their spiritual journey. Now, it doesn't matter what your gender is, what their gender is. What I'm picking up on is that this is someone who had to work on that masculine energy, choosing things for themselves, taking action. And I'm sure there's also some work they needed to do on the feminine side because we did have the Empress coming out in the reverse. They had to work on a lot of things. They put that off. It sounded like a lot of work and I didn't get paid for the, effort. So why? Well, they're realizing now that it does pay off. It's just not as cut and dry as, hourly salary type stuff. This is the Earth and Bone Oracle. Hello, Captain Chris. How are you doing? What else? The Stand. Number 40, courage, determination, fearlessness. Migration, travel, travel, travel. Initiate, beginnings, freedom, adventure, first step. So I've done what I needed to do to feel more confident about reconnecting with you. So now I need to buy the ticket or rent the car or pack the suitcase or whatever it is. This is the Fairy Lenormand. What else? The Key, number 33. And number 13, the Girl. I feel like I have figured out how to actually be happy. I feel like I figured out how to actually pursue what I want. This is sitting in a dark room and someone flips on the light switch. They saw things not very clearly for a long time. And then when they finally saw what they needed to see, they actually took action. They didn't procrastinate anymore. So they feel like they have this chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. Number 33 and number 13. So the number 3 could be important. And we have the Bear, number 15. Strength. We had the Angel of Strength come through. And then we have that masculine energy again. So I needed to forgive myself. I needed to let go of some things from my past. I needed to work on my understanding of things and people around me, myself. I needed to work on my health, my mood. And now I feel like I can approach you and tell you what's going on. This is the Gypsy Oracle. What else do we have? Lord. Death. Sweetheart in the reverse. Of course, I had to do something. I realized I was actually going to lose this person. They really hate how they treated you. There's something in particular they said. They think about it all the time. If I could just take that back. But they feel like things getting worse might have been a blessing because it finally motivated them to do the work. So now we have misfortune, surprise, and love. So I'm glad I turned down the wrong street because I was able to find that cute little ice cream shop. I'm glad I got on the wrong bus because then I ended up running into my long lost friend. There's something here where it's like, yeah, I took the wrong way, but that's okay. It really made it clear for me what I needed to do differently. And that put me in a place where I could finally pursue this love. All right, this is the Hidden Truth Oracle, version 2. Hello, Chance, how are you doing? What else? I still feel the pain. You didn't see my tears. I don't want to know. I need security. I want you back. I'm waiting patiently. I can't reach out. I would do it all again. We don't share the same values. This person has been just like tortured with thoughts of your connection and what they should have done differently, how they misjudged it or said the wrong thing. I do feel like there was some intimidation here. You know, maybe I would have reached out, maybe I would have called you if I felt like I could have a conversation and not be judged. They're intimidated by your intelligence and your perceptiveness. You have different values. That's still something they feel could be an issue. And they don't know if you'll actually let go of what happened in the past. So they're hoping that they can figure this out. I do feel like there's genuine work and healing that has been done, but they're nervous about this conversation because they don't know how to convince you that they've actually done this work. Hello, third eye. How are you doing? All right, I'm going to leave it there. I love you all. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes, and I hope to see you on the next reading. Toodles.